Fraud. A fraud is a person or thing intended to deceive others, typically by unjustifiably claiming or being credited with accomplishments or qualities. But in the year of 2025, fraud has a different meaning. Oh God, no, somebody help him. Oh God, help him. You're telling me you did all that and didn't even make it into the top 10 rankings? You got your ass beat by a dead man? Okay, we finna turn up. Let go. Damn.
We have a Hulk.
Oh my God, Hulk. Let's go, man. Let's go. Put belt to ass, man.
When I came down.
Damn. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Geekman here, back at it again. Today, I want to talk about frauds. Fraud's been a word that's been thrown around in all media to describe a lot of characters. And today, I'm basically here to decide, do some of these characters deserve these titles? Because some of them, I'm not gonna lie, some of them are just slander, which is nothing wrong with that, but like, let's put some respect on people's names. Disclaimer, there are some shows that I will not be able to cover due to the fact that I'm not caught up with them. So I know like One Piece has a huge agenda, slander, fraud watch fandom, but sadly I'm not caught up. I'm on 300 and I'm on episode 300, so I really can't. I know Agenda Piece goes wild, so One Piece is not going to be in here, I'm sorry. Also, if you see a character from a series you're not all the way caught up with, go ahead and click off because this will contain spoilers for other series. Now, who's first up? Dun 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 dun. Our first victim is known as E-Soul, or by the public, E-Fraud, or even worse, he sold. Basically, the hate stems from the fact that he's not able to live up to the old E-Soul, the mantle that he took. And what you realize about these fraud allegations is that it's more about how unlikable the character are rather than their actual feats. Because if you were to take his actual like synopsis of his entire story, he's really not a fraud. He beat the old E-Soul while being an underdog. But if you start to look in the character's aspect, that's where the fraud allegations start to spur. The contrast between the old E-Soul and the new one is very different. First of all, Yang Chen, the new E-Soul, he's actually just a fraud. Like, no, literally. Like, he's claiming to be E-Soul in the beginning of his arc. He's also tangled in his self-inflicted cuck fantasy where his girl is getting taken by this older student, or like, not older student, but this other guy. He's so jealous about this guy that when he's at gunpoint, he hesitates trying to save his life. This leads to him not being fast enough and the kid getting killed. This is very good writing and very good character nuance, but this still adds to him being unlikable, which leads to more people posting about fraud and agenda slander. Then he gets manipulated into thinking that the old E-Soul killed his friend, so he prepares to fight him. And basically he leaves his crush to sit alone at the concert that he was trying to get her to go to the entire arc. Now, let's compare that to the old E-Soul. The old E-Soul throughout the entire arc has shown no sign of aggression towards the new E-Soul. He didn't even want to fight him in the beginning. And throughout this entire show, multiple heroes show signs of not really caring about being a hero, but more caring about the rankings. I don't think the old E-Soul showed any signs of that. It felt like he was just an honest hero. And we're going to address the big elephant in the room. He's the one who landed the finishing blow on Zero, the most evil superhero, the most powerful evil superhero to reign the damn earth. And now compare this with the fact that the new E-Soul couldn't even make it in the top 10. Yeah, the fraud allegations are starting to line up now. Also, I said that he beat the old E-Soul, which he really didn't. He wasn't stronger than the old E-Soul. He had to outsmart him by pressuring him to use his special move that would lead to an opening that would kill him. So really, he wasn't really stronger than him. He just fucking, he actually kind of cheated, not gonna lie. He used the fans' perception of E-Soul to warp the fight. Because if this was a straight one-on-one, hands on hands, I think the new E-Soul would have lost. And if you need further proof or further evidence, just go ahead and look at this video for me.
Wait a fucking minute, you're telling me that Yantron was once the number 3 ranked hero? So Yantron at 22 years old defeated the good Iso who was 56 years old. Then at age 24, Yantron became the number 3 ranked hero. So you're telling me when this fraud fought Ghostblade, he was actually ranked higher than him? People really try to glaze Iso like, oh, he beat Ghostblade who was a higher rank than him. Oh, this fraud actually struggled against a 39-year-old Ghostblade who was ranked number 5 while he was protecting Johnny. We not done yet because right after that, Queen straight up bitched Iso. And can you guys guess what rank Queen was during this time? Rank number 9. You can't make this shit up. After that incident, he went from rank 3 all the way down to rank 9. But that wasn't it for the biggest fraud, because right after that, a chubby little dog became the number 8 hero. And if that wasn't bad already, Nice then comes back from the dead to make sure that fraud doesn't participate in the tournament. This fraud went from rank 3 all the way down to rank number 11. Now you in the wrong show. You belong in 2B Fraud X.
Yeah, with all the evidence gathered, Iso, you're a fraud.
Send him straight to hell.
Dun 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 dun. Our second suspect is Zanka, or if you think he's a fraud, Franka. He's from Gachakuta. He's a recently new entry into this fraud watch list, but there's still enough slander on him that I got to address it.
How was Dad like before I was born?
He was unstoppable. Nothing could stop him.
Crazy work. I am caught up on the anime, but I have not read the manga, so I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens, what feats he puts up, what performance he puts up in the manga. I'm just talking strictly about the anime. The evidence we have as to why Zanka is a fraud is because throughout the entire first season, we have not seen him win a meaningful battle. He has lost to Jabber 3 times. And you know all 3 of these ass whoopings were so bad because you got reactors talking about Zanka like he's a fucking high school basketball player.
All that copium?
No, he's gonna learn from this though.
Nah. He's developing. He's a developing player.
Even though he has a lot of slander going against him, this one still left me in a state of confusion, because by the definition of a fraud, Zanka really doesn't fit the description. All we know is that Zanka is supposed to be the mentor to Ruto. We know he comes from a fancy family, but that doesn't really give us a description about his accomplishments or feats. So we really don't know what to expect from him. All he does is just lose to one guy. That really isn't fraud status, they're just getting beat by somebody stronger than you over and over again. He wasn't stated to be like a top tier in the verse. He was just the mentor to Ruto, and he's just losing. So he really isn't a fraud, because he doesn't have any set expectations we have for him that he can disappoint us or deceive us with. So yeah, by that definition, Zanka isn't a fraud. But if you thought this was me defending him, Zanka fans, you're wrong, because Zanka isn't a fraud. He's actually a fucking bum. When analyzing Zanka, I realized that we throw the word fraud just for the sake of slander to characters that don't embrace those qualities, but those characters still have something off about them. And I realized that there's 2 other words that apply to certain characters that get called frauds: bum and potential man. And after I realized this, I decided to create the perfect criteria that all of us who engage in slander can use. At the top is potential man, because this is the least damaging thing you can apply to a character, because all you have to do is just live up to your potential. The reason why people get called potential man, because the story hypes them up to be something and they never live up to their so-called potential. So all the character has to do to break this title is live up to the potential that the author sets them at, which should naturally happen due to story progression. Next on the list is fraud. Like I said, fraud is a character who's given expectations or qualities that they don't live up to, which deceives the audience. An example would be like a character who's hyped up throughout the entire story and in the end they get one tap or get taken down super easily. And Iso's example, we expect him to be stronger and better than the old Iso, Soul, but in reality his feat's not even close to the old Soul and gets dropped out the top 10 by a dead man. The difference between this and Potential Man is that Potential Man there's hope that it can turn around, with Fraud is definite proof that this character is ass or doesn't live up to what we thought they did. Next is Bum, and this is the most damaging out of all the three. Bum is basically we don't expect nothing from you, yet you still disappoint us. These are characters whose stocks are in the negative. The only time you talk about these characters is talk about their character interaction. If you talk about any feats of strength, you're getting clowned. A prime example of this would be Renji from Bleach. I don't think anybody's ever hyped when Renji shows up on the screen. They're even more disappointed when he gets clapped up. It's just a waste of time. You fucking bum. Get off the screen. Bum is different from the other two because this is a character who has entirely lost reputation. These characters have no backing. Nobody is hyped by these characters when they fight. And the sad part is that anybody could be a bum. A Potential Man can turn into a bum. A Fraud can turn into a bum. And it's really hard to get out of. Bum is the worst title to get. And season 1 Zanka, you are on Bum Watch. I'm glad I got out the way, so now y'all know how the rankings are to go from now on. We're gonna decide who's a fraud, who's a bum, and who's a Potential Man. Dun 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 Our fraud suspect is Fruzan Kubutsuji. He's the main villain of Demon Slayer, so we already have a set expectation of how competent he should be, or at least I did when I first saw him. Throughout the entire series we see him reading books and doing fancy shit, so I thought he had some level of intellect, and then we watch his backstory and this nigga's a fucking moron. Why did you kill the only nigga that was helping you, you fucking idiot? And now your dumb ass spending the whole show trying to solve a problem that you created, and your ass got bitched so hard that an entire species feels your fucking fear. Also, Muzan is just really fucking stupid. Like legitimately, he's actually very dumb, both emotionally and tactically. Because Muzan can't control his fucking emotion, he kills the lower moons, decreasing his chance of success. He's also sending upper moons in perfect order from lowest to highest. What are we doing, gang? Why are you doing this like a fucking lunch line? Also, the demons that were killed early would have been more valuable at the end of the series if they stayed alive. Uppers 4, 5, and 6 would have been very valuable in the Infinity Castle. You have to locate the right body to kill Upper 4. Upper 5 can teleport with his pot, and for Upper 6 you have to cut off both siblings' heads at the same time. Surely Muzan will realize this and use this to his advantage, right? This nigga's a certified fraud.
This shit's fake, nigga! You don't got it! You don't got it! You stop being on the persona for these niggas out here! You don't got it!
Dun 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 dun.
Stop the cap! Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap!
Dun 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 dun.
Ho, brother, ho, whoa, 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 now. You got too much dip on your chip.
Dun 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 dun. Up next, we got Dillon Brooks. He was a minor antagonist for the 2023 Lakers season. He was starting to build a name for himself for being aggressive, getting in people's faces, getting kicked out of the game, committing fouls. He almost fought Shannon Sharp. He was starting to build a little image of being, you know, the villain of the league. And then what came with that, talking big stuff and building a little bit of an ego, if I might say. Everything was good for Dillon Brooks. He was so well known, they gave him a fucking theme song. One day, he bit off more than he can chew.
I don't care, he's old. I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40.
No, Braun, don't do it. Don't do it, Braun. Just let him be. Let him be. No, Braun, don't do it. No.
I don't care, he's old. I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40.
They lost game 6. Dillon Brooks didn't show up to the post-game interview, and 4 days later he got fired from the Grizzlies. That shit was so bad, you got niggas talking about he going to China.
Guangdong Tigers. Ni hao! Ni hao! Ni hao!
God damn. Not only did he fail to meet the expectations he put on himself, but nobody has any faith or stocks on him. That nigga's a definition of a fraud and a bum.
Dajia Hao, Wo Jiao Dillon Brooks, Wo Shi Guangdong Hudui de Shinshu for Defen Hue.
Dun 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 Here we have Yuta, but if you know him as a fraud, he's food. He is the secondary protagonist in JJK, and I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off right here. All fraud allegations are just pure slander. There's no backing to it, because there's no way you read JJK and think Yuta is a fraud. Most slander I see about him is the fact that he uses Rika, and he can't win a fight without her, which doesn't even make sense because that's his fucking curse technique. Another slander post I see is that he didn't do much against the Battle of Sukuna.
That's what legendary players do. So Kobe Bryant broke his fucking hand, and he did that. That's what legendary players do. LeBron, legendary, 3-1 comeback, came back. Kevin Durant got his foot on the
There's no way that shit was real. There has to be slander. There's no way niggas actually think Yuta's a fraud. Why the fuck would Yuta automatically know how to work Gojo's body after just being put in it? That's the most dumbest shit I have ever heard. You know how complicated Gojo's fucking technique is, bro? Why would Yuta automatically know what to do with it? They also said that Miguel was better than Yuta. That's actually fucking trolling. That's actually trolling. I love Miguel. Fuck no. And then they're gonna say Nobara too, and I get why they said Nobara, because Nobara landed a big hit, but big hits mean nothing because the whole point of why Sukuna was losing is because he was getting overwhelmed by the number of sorcerers that was attacking him. There is no way you don't think Yuta at least contributed heavily to Sukuna's downfall. I can't even argue against this boy. I can't even comprehend reading the JJK manga and thinking that Yuta was useless in the battle against Sukuna. But most Yuta slander is just like joking around. Nobody actually means what they're saying. Like, for example, Yuta being a pedophile.
And honestly, what the? Oh no! No! False! False! Everybody in the fucking street better click false. Y'all better click false.
Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, bro. Okay, bro. But yeah, Yuta is not a fraud by any definition, nor is he a potential man, nor is he a bum. Dun 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 Kashimo. Kashimo is another side character in JJK. We have a great first impression as he whoops Panda's ass and makes Hikari struggle while even using his curse technique. We are also shown that he's the Gojo of his era, dominating the sorcerers from that time period. He was so strong that he lived to old age and was wishing he fought Sukuna. He also has this nonchalant, cocky attitude, not even caring about the outcome of Gojo versus Sukuna, as he states, "I'm next up if he dies." He even tries to sun Yuta when Yuta was going to interfere and help, saying that if anyone's next, it isn't you. Now with all this information, how did Kashimo do against Sukuna? I went to reread and I couldn't believe he got packed up that quickly. He starts off the fight by asking Sukuna about his perspective of being the strongest and how he interacts with others. Sukuna calls him a greedy bastard and they fight. Kashimo pulls out his curse technique and tickles Sukuna before Sukuna transforms into his hand and arrow form. Kashimo then gets fucked by Sukuna and thrown into a post-game interview. This sequence of events birthed the most devious slander and character assassination in JJK history. It first started with the slander that Kashimo was only the strongest in his era because he was bullying on farmers. It then took a turn straight to hell as the slander turned into Kashimo becoming a femboy. Yeah, for all the hype and expectation Kashimo had in the beginning, just for him to go out like that against Sukuna is nasty work from Gege. I know he wasn't going to be as strong as Gojo or Sukuna, but for him to be that below them, especially when he was talking mad shit to Yuta who's arguably stronger than him, is crazy. Kashimo showed up, clapped Panda, almost killed Hikari, was the strongest of his era, talked mad shit, only lasted 2 chapters to Sukuna. Yikes, that man is a fraud. Well, I think that's it for the frauds. I don't got anybody else. What? What is that? Don't you hear that? The fuck is that? What? Megumi Fujiguro is the most slandered character of all time. They don't let that nigga breathe for nothing. Most of his fraud allegations are because he tends to try and summon Mahoraga in a good amount of his fights. He tried to summon it against Sukuna in the first episode, which is fair because it's Sukuna. The next time he did it was when Sukuna had taken over Yuji's body, which again, it's Sukuna. But he tries to do it against Toto, which is up to debate if he tried to summon it, since he was getting beat up and then says, "I'm holding back and you're so proud." He then looks at the camera maliciously before being stopped, so it's unclear if he tried to use Mahoraga there. Then he pulls it out against a special grade, but decides not to use it and pops his incomplete domain. The last time we see him use it is against Haruta, which he does successfully. This led to people calling him a Mahoraga spammer, who can't fight his own battles, which isn't really true. I said isn't really true because he uses Mahoraga as a self-sacrifice technique, which Gozen tells him not to do, and starts fighting a little more selfishly, so he knows how to fight on his own. The second reason why people call him a fraud is because he does nothing throughout the entire story, which isn't really fair because he got sidelined from the story, and the last fight he had against Reggie was goated. Also, people call him a fraud because he didn't fight back for the majority of time he was in Sukuna, which again isn't fair because Sukuna literally destroyed this man's whole life, killing his sister and sensei. And yeah, Yuji or Yuta probably went through way worse, but still kept fighting. But Megumi just ain't built like that, and that's okay. Some people can't take that kind of misery. Yuji was probably at his breaking point too. If Yuji fucking stubbed his toe in Shijinku, he would have became the next version of Sukuna. So what do I think of Megumi? He's definitely a potential man, the shit's based off him, but I don't think Megumi's a fraud. He's someone who's actively holed by the story and goes through a lot that it's easy to make fun of him. He's not a bum since he has the ability to win fights, but like I said, he's holed by the story, fighting Sukuna twice and an enraged Toji. Any other fight he wins. But I would be lying my ass off if I said the slander wasn't fucking hilarious. Oh my god, that shit be having me dying. It makes it even worse when Megumi fans start crying on Twitter about his character being a suicidal, depressed teen. Which, they're right, but crying under a joke post isn't the right place to do that since they're all joking. Sure, there are some people who genuinely believe it, but the majority of people are just having fun, and you being salty about it makes it 100 times worse. Just make a separate post about Megumi's depression and don't mention the slander. You're just bringing more gas to the fire. And two things that piss me off that they say are, one, why don't you talk about Meme or Noya like this? Like, nigga, of course where people are going to talk about the character that has more screen time than both of them combined. Noya is probably in like 10 chapters, and Meme has no appearance or presence as a character. She is a nobody character. Nobody cares about her. The second thing they say is Megumi slander is never funny, which is a fucking lie that immediately tells me you cry seeing Megumi slander. Because there's no way you see a nigga put an AI watermark on one of Megumi's biggest fights to make it seem like it was AI generated, and to say that isn't funny, you have to be Megumi's biggest dick rider of all time. Stop it. But before we leave the topic of JJK, I want to talk about how the fandom throws the word fraud everywhere. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I've got David Robinson. You think not?
No.
Karl Malone,
No.
second all-time leading scorer.
No.
Right? Oh, stop it.
No.
I got Bill Walton.
No!
Oh, stop it!
If Jesus Christ was in JJK, they'll call him a fraud. But anyway, that's it for fraud inspection today. All I wanted to do is just evaluate these claims that y'all put on these characters and use my own perspective to show y'all if I believe it or not. Obviously, my opinion isn't truth. You're free to disagree with it, just don't be rude about it, man. I promise we can have a productive conversation without us name calling each other and trying to fuck each other's family line. Also, I am open to making a part 2. Just remember, I have to watch these shows so I can put the characters in the actual video, so it might take me a while. But yeah, that'll be it for me today. I'll see y'all boys later, man. Peace.